Welcome to this transformative journey into Stoic wisdom. Today we combine three powerful teachings to help you master your emotions, overcome challenges, and rewrite your story. First, discover 5 Stoic rules to emotionally detach from someone, inspired by Marcus Aurelius. Learn to let go, handle negativity, and find peace in difficult relationships. Next, uncover the hidden power of not reacting. Drawn from Seneca and Epictetus, this lesson will teach you to stay calm, focused, and resilient in the face of adversity. Finally, embrace the power to rewrite your story, from victim to victor. Shift your mindset, take control, and create a life of growth and purpose with Stoic principles.
Life has knocked you down. You're carrying the weight of mistakes, regrets, and missed opportunities. But listen closely. This isn't your destiny. It's just a chapter in your story. Today, we're turning the page. Your past may feel like a minefield of what-ifs and if-onlys. We've all been there. The promotion that slipped away, the relationship that fell apart, the chances you let go of. Those memories haunt you, don't they? But here's the truth. They don't define you. They never did. Today, we're going to rewire your mindset. We're transforming those past failures into fuel for your future. This isn't just about empty motivation. It's about becoming the person you're truly meant to be. Why does this matter? Because right now, you're fighting an uphill battle with one hand tied behind your back. Your past is holding you hostage, and it's time for a jailbreak. It doesn't matter if you're 16 or 60, whether you've hit rock bottom or are clawing your way to the top. This is your wake-up call. Are you ready to break free? Are you prepared to turn your scars into stars? Let's dive in and rewrite your story. Number 1. The weight of the past. Your past can feel like quicksand. The harder you struggle, the deeper you sink. You replay those moments, those failures, over and over like a broken record, stuck in the same groove. Think about it. How many times have you hesitated to take a chance because of what happened before? How often do you hear that nagging voice in your head saying, "Remember what happened last time"? It's paralyzing, isn't it? And it's not just in your imagination. Science backs this up. Our brains are hardwired to remember negative experiences more vividly than positive ones. This negativity bias might have helped our ancestors survive, but now it's holding you back from truly living. Imagine carrying a backpack and every regret, mistake, and missed opportunity is a rock you've added to it. Day by day, year by year, the weight piles on. How heavy is that pack now? How far can you run while carrying it? But here's the thing. It's not just you who's affected. That weight impacts everything. Your relationships, your career, your dreams. You're not showing up as your best self because you're stuck being your past self. And let's be honest, it's strangely comfortable, isn't it? Dwelling in the past gives you an excuse. I can't succeed because of what happened. It becomes a convenient way to avoid risks or vulnerability. But ask yourself, is that backpack worth the life you're missing out on? Are those old stories worth sacrificing your future for? Here's the hard truth. It might sting a little. Your past is only as powerful as the meaning you give it. You're the author of your story, yet you've handed the pen over to your past. It's time to take it back and start writing a new chapter. Number 2. Reframing your story. Your past isn't a prison, it's a classroom. Every setback, every stumble, every faceplant into the dirt isn't failure. It's an education. Think about it. You learn to walk by falling. You learn to speak by babbling nonsense. Why should life be any different? Let's take a lesson from the Stoics, the ancient philosophers who understood this well. They believed external events don't harm us. It's our judgment about them that does the damage. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, put it perfectly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. So how do we apply this? How do we turn the past from a heavy burden into a source of empowerment? Stop seeing yourself as a victim. You're not at the mercy of fate. You're a warrior in training. Every hit you've taken has toughened you up for what's ahead. Get curious. Instead of beating yourself up over past mistakes, ask, what can I learn from this? That failed relationship may have taught you what you truly value in a partner. Losing that job may have revealed your real passion. Practice gratitude. It might sound soft, but consider this. What if every bad thing that happened to you was setting you up for something better? That breakup made room for the right person. That setback at work pushed you towards starting the dream project you've been putting off. Here's a challenge. Take your biggest regret, the one that keeps you up at night, and find 3 ways it has made you stronger, wiser, or more resilient. Done? Good. That's the power of reframing. You've just turned poison into medicine. Your past doesn't define you. It refines you. This isn't about erasing what happened, but about changing the meaning you attach to it. You're not deleting your history. You're rewriting it. So, are you ready to stop being a prisoner of your past and become a student of it instead? Number 3. Learning from failure. Let's get real. Failure isn't your enemy. It's your greatest ally. Every time you fall, you're not falling behind. You're falling forward. Think back to your last failure, the disappointment, the shame, the doubt. It stings, doesn't it? But what if you could channel that energy and turn that pain into power? Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who rose from slavery to become one of the greatest thinkers of his time, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Let that sink in. Your failure doesn't define you. Your response does. Here's the hard truth. Success is a lousy teacher. It's seductive, making you feel invincible. Failure, on the other hand, keeps you hungry, humble, and always learning. Have you ever met someone who's never failed? They're untested, unprepared, and soft. Now think about the people you admire, the ones who've achieved greatness. Their paths weren't straight lines. They were messy, full of missteps, failures, and comebacks. Take Thomas Edison. He failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. When asked about it, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the mindset of a winner. Or consider J.K. Rowling. Before Harry Potter, she was a struggling, divorced, single mother living on welfare. Her first book was rejected by 12 publishers. Today, she's one of the most successful authors in history. These aren't just feel-good anecdotes, they're roadmaps. They show us that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of success. Here's what I want you to do. The next time you fail, and you will, because you're trying, celebrate it. Yes, celebrate. You've just discovered a way that doesn't work, bringing you one step closer to what does. Remember, the master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. Every scar you bear is a lesson learned. Every setback sets you up for a comeback. As Seneca, another Stoic heavyweight, said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor strengthens the body." Your failures aren't weakening you, they're forging you into something stronger, something better. So, make me a promise. The next time you fail, instead of beating yourself up, ask yourself, what did this teach me? How can I use this? How has this made me stronger? Here's the ultimate truth. You haven't truly failed until you quit. Everything else is just learning. So are you ready to turn your failures into fuel and fall forward? Number 4. The power of present focus. Your power isn't in the past or the future, it's in the present moment. Reliving past mistakes or worrying about the future drains you. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you'll find strength. When you're fully present, time disappears, and you achieve flow, the state where peak performance happens. How to stay present. Stop dwelling. The past is gone. The future isn't here yet. Focus on what's in front of you. Appreciate now. Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things he has not, but rejoices for those he has." Think of life like driving a car. The windshield is big for looking ahead, while the rearview mirror is small for glancing back. Stay focused on the road ahead. Challenge. For 24 hours, bring your mind back to the present whenever it drifts. Ask yourself, what can I do right now to move forward? Number 5. Breaking the chains of expectation. Your life isn't a script written by others, it's your story to tell. Society, family and friends have expectations, but those are their limitations, not yours. Lao Tzu said, "Care about what others think, and you will always be their prisoner." Steps to break free. Question the shoulds. Are these your goals or someone else's dreams? Live boldly. Don't settle for a life of quiet desperation. Pursue what sets your soul on fire. Redefine expectations. Write down others' expectations of you. Cross out the ones that don't align with your true self. At the end of your life, you won't regret the expectations you didn't meet. You'll regret the life you didn't live. Number 6. Shape your future. Your future isn't a distant land you stumble into. It's something you create today. Your past mistakes or current struggles don't define your future. Your actions and mindset do. Seneca said, "It's not because things are difficult that we dare not venture. It's because we dare not venture that things are difficult." How to build your future. Start climbing. The mountain may seem daunting, but progress is made one step at a time. Act now. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Visualize and execute. Write down your vision for the future and 3 actions you can take this week to move closer to it. Remember, your future isn't something that happens to you. It's something you shape. Every choice you make today is a brushstroke on the masterpiece of your life. So, are you ready to take control and design the future you've always dreamed of? Number 7. Turning pain into power. The pain you carry isn't a weight to hold you down. It's the fuel that can launch you to incredible heights. Every scar, every setback, every moment that brought you to your knees is energy waiting to be transformed. It's time to ignite it. Nietzsche, deeply influenced by Stoic thought, said, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." But let's take it further. It doesn't just make you stronger, it can make you unstoppable. Think about this. Every hardship you faced has taught you something invaluable. Resilience, creativity, grit. These aren't just abstract concepts. They're tools you forged in the fire of adversity. Each one is a weapon in your arsenal, honed by struggle and sharpened by survival. The most influential figures in history aren't those who've had it easy. They're the ones who've walked through fire, emerged scorched but unbroken, and brought back a map to guide others through the flames. Turn your pain into power. Here's what I want you to do. Take your biggest pain point, the thing that haunts you, keeps you up at night. Ask yourself, how can I use this? How can this poison become medicine? Not just for yourself, but for others. That failed business. It could become the foundation of a mentorship program. That heartbreak. It could inspire art that moves others to tears. Your rock bottom. It could be the bedrock for someone else's breakthrough. This isn't about slapping on a fake smile and pretending you're fine. It's about staring your pain in the face, acknowledging its presence and respecting its power, then using it as the catalyst for something extraordinary. Remember, diamonds are nothing more than coal that handled unimaginable pressure. Your challenges are the same. They're refining you into something brilliant and enduring. The call to action. So I ask you, are you ready to stop being a victim of your circumstances? Are you ready to start being the alchemist of your life, turning pain into power? Take that first step. Start with what hurts the most and let it fuel the transformation you've been waiting for. The world doesn't need more people playing it safe. It needs you, bruised, battle-tested and brilliant, ready to rise. Number 8. Practical steps for change. All right, enough with the philosophy. Let's get to work. Ideas are powerful, but action turns them into reality. Knowledge without action? It's like owning a Ferrari with no gas. Impressive, but it's not going anywhere. Step 1. Self-reflection. Before bed, each night ask yourself 3 questions. 1. What did I learn today? 2. How did I grow? 3. What can I do better tomorrow? This isn't just journaling, it's a mindset shift. You're training your brain to focus on progress instead of perfection. Step 2. Practice gratitude. Every morning write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be monumental. A good cup of coffee or a sunny day counts. Gratitude rewires your brain to notice the positives in life, steering you away from negativity. Step 3. Reframe self-talk. Catch yourself when you say things like, "I always mess up," or "I'm not good enough." Replace those with, "I'm learning," "I'm improving every day." Your words shape your reality, so choose them wisely. Step 4. Create a failure. Resume list your biggest failures and the lessons you learned from them. This isn't about wallowing in regret. It's about celebrating resilience. Your failures are proof that you can fall and still rise stronger. Step 5. Practice mindfulness. Spend 10 minutes a day focusing on your breath and being present. This builds mental strength, helping you stay in the moment instead of being stuck in the past or anxious about the future. Step 6. Set goals and reverse engineer. Then break big dreams into manageable steps. Want to run a marathon? Start with a 5K. Want to write a book? Commit to a page a day. Small, consistent actions lead to big results. Step 7. Face your fears. Do one thing every day that scares you. It doesn't have to be monumental. Speak up in a meeting, try a new workout, or have a tough conversation. Each step builds courage and proves you can handle discomfort. Number 9. Overcoming challenges. This journey isn't going to be easy. Obstacles will appear, doubts will creep in, and old habits will try to pull you back. But here's the key. The obstacle is the way. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow stronger, sharpen your skills, and evolve into the person you were meant to become. Challenge 1. The voice of doubt. That nagging voice in your head saying, "You're not good enough," or "You'll never change." Silence it with action. Prove it wrong every single day. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who decides which thoughts to believe. Your call to action. The past is a place of reference, not a place of residence. Who said that? It doesn't matter. What matters is whether you're ready to live it. Are you prepared to stop being a prisoner of your history and start being the architect of your destiny? Look around you. The guy at the gym pushing through his last rep, even as every muscle screams to quit. He's not just building muscle, he's building resilience. The woman giving a presentation despite her hands trembling. She's not just sharing information, she's conquering fear. These are modern-day Stoics. They aren't wearing togas or speaking in ancient forums. They're in boardrooms, classrooms, and even looking back at you in the mirror. Take Ryan Holiday, for example. He turned ancient Stoic wisdom into best-selling books and a thriving career. He didn't let his past as a college dropout define him. He used it to fuel his success. Or think about Rear Admiral James Stockdale, who endured 7.5 years as a prisoner of war in Vietnam. His secret weapon, Stoic philosophy. He said, "I never lost faith in the end of the story. I never doubted that I would get out and prevail in the end and turn the experience into the defining event of my life, which, in retrospect, I would not trade." These aren't superhumans. They're people like you who decided to take control of their stories. And the challenge: start today, not tomorrow, not next week, right now. 1. Pick one thing you've been avoiding, something you've let fear or past failures hold you back from. 2. Take the first step. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in the face of it. Write this quote from Marcus Aurelius, somewhere you'll see it daily. "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." A message to your future self. Picture your future self. They're watching you. They're waiting to see if you'll take this moment seriously. Will you make them proud? Go out there and show the world what you're made of. Remember, you're not just capable of change, you are the change. Let's do this. Life inevitably teaches us that people come and go. We form bonds, create connections, and often tie our emotions to these relationships. But what happens when those bonds break? How do you handle the emotional burden when someone is no longer in your life, or when you realize they never felt the same depth of connection? You might find yourself asking, how can I stop caring? Or is it possible to detach emotionally without losing a part of myself? This is where Stoicism, particularly the insights of Marcus Aurelius, can provide guidance. The Stoics were adept at understanding human emotions, not by shunning them, but by learning to balance their impact on our lives. Emotional detachment, in their view, isn't about becoming cold or indifferent. It's about regaining clarity and inner peace. In this article, I'll share 5 timeless Stoic principles inspired by Marcus Aurelius that can assist you in emotionally detaching from someone. This isn't merely theoretical, it's practical advice aimed at transforming how you relate to yourself and others. Rule 1. Embrace the impermanence of life. Marcus Aurelius once stated, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." When it comes to emotional attachments, we often hold tightly to our own view of someone, a story we tell ourselves about their significance in our lives. However, the truth is that all relationships are temporary. One moment, you're close. The next, they're gone, whether through distance, death, or the slow fading of intimacy. This may seem disheartening, but accepting impermanence is the first step toward emotional detachment. When you acknowledge that no connection lasts forever, you become more present in the moment. It's like holding sand in your hand. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips away. The same goes for relationships. The more you try to cling to them, the more they slip through your fingers. I once had a friendship that lasted over a decade. We shared dreams, fears, and countless late-night conversations. As time went on, everything shifted. No matter how hard I tried, the gap between us widened. It was only when I came to terms with the fact that our friendship had reached its end that I was able to release the emotional burden. Marcus Aurelius might have put it this way: embrace the idea that all things come to an end, and you'll find it easier to cope when they do. Rule 2. Master your emotions through rational thought. It's easy to feel like our emotions are in control. When we're close to someone, feelings of pain, sadness, or anger can seem unavoidable. But the reality is that emotions are not the truth. They stem from our thoughts, beliefs, and how we interpret events. Marcus Aurelius highlighted this: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. To detach emotionally, we must first understand that our minds shape our emotional experiences. Our thoughts can either stir up a whirlwind of feelings or help us find calm. Take a breakup, for example. It's normal to feel devastated, to replay conversations, and to analyze every little detail. However, instead of allowing emotions to take the reins, the Stoic way is to ask, what are the facts, and how can I view this differently? Option for thoughts that free you from emotional suffering instead of extending it. Think about this scenario. You send a sincere message to someone important to you, but hours pass without a reply. Your mind begins to race. Did I say something wrong? Are they upset? Do they not care? As the silence lingers, feelings of frustration and anxiety start to build. But is it really their lack of response that's bothering you, or is it your interpretation of the situation? Marcus Aurelius encouraged us to scrutinize our thoughts. The reality is, they haven't replied. Anything beyond that is just speculation. Instead of letting emotions spiral out of control, take a moment to pause. Acknowledge that your feelings are based on your own thoughts, not on reality. Challenge those thoughts, and you'll regain your emotional equilibrium. I've been through this myself. A close friend once went silent during a crucial conversation. Initially, I didn't think much of it, but as time went on, anxiety began to set in. By the end of the day, I had convinced myself that our friendship was in jeopardy. When I reached out the next day, they replied casually, completely unaware of the emotional turmoil I had created. It was a humbling reminder of Marcus Aurelius's advice. Focus on what's within your control, your thoughts and actions, not the outcome. Rule 3. Practice negative visualization. At first glance, the idea of negative visualization might seem odd or even counterintuitive. Why would anyone choose to imagine losing something or someone they care about? Doesn't that just create unnecessary stress? Surprisingly, this Stoic exercise, advocated by Marcus Aurelius, is one of the most effective ways to develop emotional detachment. It doesn't harden your heart. Rather, it prepares your mind to face life's inevitable losses with grace. The concept is both straightforward and profound. By envisioning worst-case scenarios ahead of time, you lessen their emotional impact if or when they happen. This doesn't mean adopting a fatalistic or pessimistic outlook. Instead, it's about training yourself to accept reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. Marcus Aurelius wisely advised, do not disturb yourself by imagining the whole of life's troubles at once. Instead, meet each as it arises with calmness and self-control. At its core, negative visualization is a practice of resilience. Think of someone you deeply care about, a partner, a friend, or a family member. Now imagine your life without them. How does that feel? Uncomfortable? Painful? That's the point. The Stoics believed that by confronting the emotional discomfort of loss in your mind, you lessen its power to devastate you in reality. I recall applying this principle when my best friend was considering moving overseas. For years, we had been inseparable, and the thought of them being so far away was almost unbearable. But instead of shying away from this fear, I embraced it. Each day, I pictured what life would be like without their daily presence. Going through my routines, spending time with other friends, and finding new joys. By the time they actually moved, the loss still hurt, but it didn't overwhelm me. I had mentally rehearsed it, and that preparation made all the difference. A crucial element of negative visualization is understanding that loss is a natural and unavoidable aspect of life. Everything we hold dear, be it relationships, belongings, or situations, will eventually change or come to an end. This understanding isn't intended to be bleak. Rather, it's liberating. When you stop expecting things to remain the same, you can let go of the false sense of entitlement to permanence. By releasing that entitlement, the fear of losing something lessens. Consider relationships as an example. Many of us enter into them with the belief that they will last indefinitely, seldom contemplating the possibility of change or an ending. However, the Stoic perspective encourages us to cherish what we have in the present, fully aware that it won't last forever. This viewpoint is liberating. I once found myself in a relationship where anxiety about its potential end consumed me. The thought of losing that person felt overwhelming. When I began to practice negative visualization, my mindset shifted. Instead of fixating on maintaining control, I envisioned life after the relationship. Although it was painful to think about, this practice reminded me to appreciate the present. When the relationship eventually ended, I was more prepared than I had anticipated. The true benefit of negative visualization lies in the inner resilience it fosters. By consistently imagining worst-case scenarios, you cultivate a solid emotional foundation that remains steady amidst life's uncertainties. You come to understand that regardless of what happens, you'll be okay. And that's the essence of emotional detachment. Not withdrawing from life, but liberating yourself from the illusion that happiness relies on things remaining unchanged. Rule 4. Focus on what you can control. One of the most empowering realizations in Stoicism is understanding the distinction between what is within your control and what is not. This principle is especially crucial when it comes to emotionally detaching from someone. Why? Because much of the pain we experience in relationships stems from a futile desire to control things that are simply beyond our influence. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, repeatedly emphasizes focusing only on what lies within our control: our thoughts, actions, and responses. Everything else, how others behave, the outcomes of situations, or the passage of time, is beyond our influence. The more you try to control the uncontrollable, the more you will suffer. Emotional detachment, then, is not about coldly distancing yourself from others. It's about releasing your attachment to outcomes you cannot dictate. When you're deeply connected to someone, whether a romantic partner, a friend, or a family member, it's natural to want to influence how they feel about you. You want them to care for you as deeply as you care for them. But the hard truth is that you cannot control their emotions. You can't force someone to love you, appreciate you, or treat you the way you believe you deserve. What you can control is how you respond to their actions. Think about a time when you tried to influence someone's feelings or behavior. Perhaps you went out of your way to win someone's affection, or exhausted yourself proving your worth to a friend who never truly valued you. How did that feel? Likely it left you frustrated, anxious, and powerless, because you were chasing something outside your control. In my own experience, I was once in a relationship where I felt like I was always trying to hold things together. No matter how much effort I put into planning thoughtful dates, sending kind messages, or being emotionally available, it seemed like I was always one step behind. They would pull away, and I would try even harder. It turned into a cycle of constant anxiety as I attempted to control their feelings toward me. When I finally embraced the Stoic principle of focusing on what I could control, my actions and my self-worth, I was able to release that anxiety. I understood that I couldn't force them to love me more or treat me better. The only thing I could manage was my own response. So I chose to detach. The relief was overwhelming. Letting go of that emotional weight allowed me to find peace. One of the most freeing things you can do for yourself is to embrace emotional autonomy, the realization that your happiness, peace, and emotional stability do not rely on someone else's behavior or feelings. When you hand over your emotional well-being to another person, you give up your power. You become a prisoner to their moods, actions, and choices. Imagine being in a friendship where you constantly feel overlooked. Your friend stops making time for you and you feel neglected. It's natural to feel hurt and to dwell on what you might have done wrong. But here's the reality. Their behavior is beyond your control. The only thing you can control is your response. Do you want to keep pursuing someone who doesn't appreciate you? Or do you want to focus your energy on relationships and activities that bring you joy and fulfillment? Control is how you respond to their actions. Think about a time when you tried to influence someone's feelings or behavior. Perhaps you went out of your way to win someone's affection, or exhausted yourself proving your worth to a friend who never truly valued you. How did that feel? Likely it left you frustrated. In my own experience, I've had friendships where I unknowingly let others have too much sway over my self-worth. When they were distant, I felt unworthy. When they were attentive, I felt valued. This emotional roller coaster was exhausting. By applying Stoic principles, I made a conscious decision to stop tying my self-esteem to their behavior. I focused on cultivating my inner stability, independent of their actions. This didn't mean I cared less about them. It meant I stopped allowing their behavior to dictate my inner peace. The ultimate aim of concentrating on what you can control isn't to detach from people, but to let go of the illusion that your happiness relies on their actions. When you adopt this mindset, you liberate yourself from unnecessary suffering and uncover a deep sense of peace and resilience. Rule 5. Acceptance and emotional detachment, finding freedom in letting go. Emotional detachment isn't about being indifferent, it's about embracing reality. It involves recognizing life's unpredictability and accepting what lies beyond our control. We often find ourselves asking questions like, "What could I have done differently?" or "Why did this happen?" While these thoughts are natural, they stem from a desire to change the past or influence outcomes that are no longer in our hands. True peace arises from letting go of this need for control and concentrating on what we can shape, the present moment. As Marcus Aurelius famously stated, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that the challenges we encounter are not just obstacles, but also opportunities for growth. By accepting what we cannot change, we can redirect our energy toward what truly matters, responding with strength and resilience instead of resistance. When we take a step back and consider the bigger picture, the weight of our emotions starts to lighten. Stoic philosophy teaches us that life is vast, and the moments that feel overwhelming now are fleeting in the grand scheme of time. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? Does one person or event truly define my life? By embracing this broader perspective, Emotional detachment shifts from being about shutting down to achieving balance. It helps us understand that while relationships and situations influence us, they do not define us. Accepting impermanence, the natural flow of life, enables us to rise above emotional turmoil. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you liberate yourself from unnecessary suffering. Emotional detachment is not the absence of feeling, it's about mastering it. By accepting life's impermanence, opting for rational responses over reactive emotions, and viewing the bigger picture, you open the door to inner peace and self-liberation. When you find yourself holding on too tightly to someone or something, take a moment to reflect. Am I in charge of my emotions, or are they dictating my actions? Letting go doesn't signify an ending, it marks the start of your freedom. Have you ever acted impulsively, only to regret it later? What if I told you that the ability to control your emotions and master your reactions is entirely within your reach? Many of us go through life feeling as though our emotions are dictated by external events, leaving us powerless. However, Marcus Aurelius teaches us a timeless truth. Real power lies in recognizing the distinction between what we can control and what we cannot. This seemingly simple insight is the first step toward mastering our emotional responses. The Stoic philosopher reminds us that while we cannot control other people's actions, the weather, or even the random thoughts that surface in our minds, we always retain the power to choose how we respond to them. Picture a scenario where something stressful occurs. Perhaps a colleague criticizes your work, or you find yourself stuck in traffic. These situations can easily provoke frustration, anger, or anxiety. Yet by acknowledging that these external circumstances are beyond our control, we liberate ourselves from the emotional weight they impose. Instead of getting caught up in frustration, we can direct our focus toward the one thing we do control, our reaction. When we stop attempting to control everything around us, we begin to notice a profound shift. Our inner turmoil starts to subside. By releasing the need to manage the uncontrollable, we cultivate the ability to respond calmly and thoughtfully, no matter the situation. This mindset doesn't mean becoming indifferent or passive. Rather, it allows us to be more intentional in directing our energy, attention, and emotional responses. By embracing the Stoic principle of focusing only on what lies within our control, we empower ourselves to act with clarity and purpose. This deliberate approach helps us reclaim our power, one decision at a time. Emotions, of course, are a natural part of being human. Yet, as Marcus Aurelius points out, they are not the essence of who we are. Emotions are fleeting. They ebb and flow like waves in the sea. When we let them consume us, we risk mistaking them for our identity. But what if we could observe our emotions without allowing them to dominate us? This is where the concept of detachment becomes essential. Think back to a time when you felt anger, sadness, or frustration. In that moment, it might have seemed as though those emotions were controlling you, dictating your actions and thoughts. However, emotions are merely temporary reactions to events. They don't define your character or your worth. By acknowledging the transience of emotions, we stop tying our sense of self to them. For instance, when anger arises, we can remind ourselves, this anger is just a passing feeling. It's not who I am. This shift in perspective gives us the space to respond with intention and wisdom, rather than reacting impulsively. The more we practice observing our emotions without identifying with them, the freer we become. We begin to understand that we are not at the mercy of every emotional wave that comes our way. Instead, we grow more grounded, steady, and deliberate in facing life's challenges. It's not about suppressing emotions, but recognizing that they don't control us. Through detachment, we reclaim the power to choose our actions without being swept away by temporary feelings. We've all experienced moments where we reacted impulsively, only to regret it afterward. Marcus Aurelius distinguishes between reacting and responding, a difference that can transform how we navigate any situation. Reactions are automatic and driven by emotion, often leading to outcomes we later wish we could change. Responses, on the other hand, are intentional and shaped by our values and rational thought. Imagine someone says something hurtful to you. Your immediate reaction might be anger or defensiveness. But if you pause and take a breath before responding, you create a moment of clarity. This pause is critical. It allows you to step back from the intensity of the initial emotion and choose the best course of action. Instead of reacting out of hurt or frustration, you respond thoughtfully, staying aligned with your values and long-term goals. By mastering this skill, we take control of our emotional landscape and begin to live with greater purpose, clarity, and inner peace, where our emotions and actions are leading us. Marcus Aurelius believed that self-awareness through reflection was essential for personal growth and maintaining a sense of purpose. By setting aside time to reflect, we create an opportunity to learn from our experiences and make intentional adjustments to improve. Imagine ending your day by asking yourself questions like, did I act in alignment with my values today? Were my responses to challenges thoughtful and constructive? What can I learn from my actions, both good and bad? This simple practice of introspection can help us cultivate emotional mastery and develop resilience. For example, if you notice a pattern of reacting defensively when criticized, reflection gives you the chance to explore the root of that behavior and consider how you might respond differently in the future. Reflection isn't about dwelling on mistakes or judging yourself harshly. It's about learning and growing. It gives you the space to acknowledge your progress, celebrate your victories, and identify areas where you can improve. Over time, daily reflection becomes a powerful tool for emotional regulation and intentional living. It helps you approach life with clarity and purpose, transforming impulsive reactions into thoughtful responses. This practice of self-awareness is not only a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, but also a pathway to living a more fulfilled and centered life. By taking just a few moments each day to reflect, you reclaim control over your emotions and decisions, ensuring that your actions are guided by wisdom and aligned with the person you aspire to be. Daily reflection, a tool for self-mastery. Daily reflection is a transformative practice that helps us understand why we behave the way we do and empowers us to make intentional decisions. Marcus Aurelius embraced this practice, asking himself questions such as, did I act in alignment with my virtues today? Where did I fall short? How can I improve tomorrow? These questions are not about self-criticism, but about fostering self-awareness and growth. Reflection helps us recognize patterns in our behavior, particularly moments where we've reacted impulsively or let emotions take control. By observing ourselves without judgment, we gain insight into how external circumstances influence our decisions and emotions. Over time, this practice builds a habit of thoughtful responses rather than automatic reactions, shaping our future with intention. Reflection ensures that every day becomes a step toward becoming the person we aspire to be. The trap of external validation. In today's world, it's easy to seek validation through social media, societal expectations, or the approval of others. However, Marcus Aurelius teaches that true fulfillment comes from within, not from external praise. When we rely on others' opinions to define our self-worth, we surrender our emotional stability. Praise may uplift us, but criticism can bring us down, creating an emotional roller coaster. By focusing on internal growth instead of external validation, we reclaim our power. Marcus Aurelius believed that only our thoughts, actions, and decisions are within our control. Whether others praise or criticize us is irrelevant if we remain true to our principles and purpose. This shift from external approval to internal progress builds resilience and confidence, allowing us to navigate life with peace and strength. Ask yourself, am I doing what's right? Am I staying true to my values? Am I growing each day? Living for personal growth rather than validation fosters freedom and empowerment. The illusion of perfection. In a fast-paced world, we often chase perfection, waiting for the right moment to act. We spend time overthinking, strategizing, and fearing failure, believing everything must align perfectly before moving forward. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that perfection is an illusion. Perfectionism arises from the fear of failure or a desire for approval, yet true progress comes from action, not endless preparation. No matter how much we refine something, there will always be room for improvement. What matters most is doing our best with the resources we have at the moment. Each imperfect step forward is still progress. Growth comes from learning through action, not from waiting for flawless conditions. By embracing imperfection, we move closer to our goals and free ourselves from the paralysis of perfectionism. The essence of Marcus Aurelius's teachings lies in cultivating mindfulness, discipline, and purpose to navigate life's challenges and achieve personal growth. Here's a synthesis of the core ideas. 1. Daily reflection. Reflecting daily on our actions and thoughts fosters self-awareness. This isn't about criticism but growth, identifying patterns, aligning actions with values, and making intentional decisions to improve incrementally. Questions like, did I act according to my virtues? And how can I improve tomorrow? Help guide this process. 2. Internal validation over external approval. True fulfillment arises from inner progress, not external validation. Relying on others for approval makes us vulnerable to their praise or criticism, creating emotional instability. By focusing on personal values and growth, we reclaim control, build resilience, and gain lasting self-worth. 3. Action over perfection. Waiting for perfection hinders progress. Growth comes from taking consistent action, learning from mistakes, and refining through experience. Imperfect action builds momentum, teaching us that progress is more valuable than unattainable perfection. 4. Staying present. The present moment is our only true power. Dwelling on the past or worrying about the future saps energy and focus. By practicing mindfulness, we engage fully with life, make better decisions, and find joy in the journey, not just the destination. 5. Self-discipline as a foundation. Self-discipline bridges the gap between where we are and where we aspire to be. It requires making tough choices, resisting distractions, and consistently aligning actions with long-term goals. Delayed gratification leads to lasting rewards, while habitual effort compounds over time to create significant achievements. 6. Gratitude and resilience. Gratitude grounds us in the present, helping us appreciate what we have while working toward what we desire. This mindset fosters resilience, allowing us to face life's uncertainties with calm and clarity.